Alright guys, I just want to start this video off kind of showing you a little bit of the base. Most of my guild was quite a bit slower leveling up and everything than I was, so I spent a couple days just playing solo. Build my own little base, kind of got everything myself here. Was just trying to figure out the best way to optimize this and be as efficient as possible. As you can see in here, I have a ton of Stravidium. I have well over 1,000 Plastanium ingots. Tons of material, so many different things that, as a solo would seem like a daunting task, something that will just take you way too long. End of the day, it's really not that hard once you kind of have an efficient route. I have all my destills, I always have water ready to go. I can set up any kind of ore in there and, not have to go out and try and find any water. In these boxes, I have tons of mats, really any collectible you can get from the ships. More than I'll ever need, just enough to really, if I find a blueprint that I want, I can make it then and there. Some of this gear in here, you'll see the green sets. I highly recommend just stacking some of this up. You can get it really easily in the deep desert PvE side of things. These dungeons you can run solo without a problem, but with how many people are out there now, you'll end up just walking into an empty dungeon, running through and looting it most of the time. These gear sets can be used for just going out by yourself, and if you lose it, it's not a big deal, End of the day, it's just a set that's duraluminum. It's going to keep you up to date. You can run through it, have no problem. These are the cheapest water storages that I could find, so I just max it out with copper. It's not something that's hard to farm. We had a ton left over from leveling up. Might as well put it to good use. You'll get a ton of gold from those PvE dungeons as well as you go through the game. I have made probably 3 scout copters now. I have an assault copter. I have anything that you could really need, just so you can just keep playing the game, I'll go ahead and just take a little flight real quick. You can see what the entire base looks like. I picked a spot up here on top of a hill. There's a ton of PvE spots around me, so I can go collect bodies quickly and efficiently and get my destills filled up, just so I never run out of any kind of water. The upkeep of this base really isn't too much either. The taxes, it's gold end of the day, so couple PvE dungeons and you're done. Now, the first thing I really want to talk about is going to be Planetologist.app. I'll put the link to it in the description. It's probably the most important thing for getting started in Deep Desert. Instead of having to go out and survey every single thing yourself, what you can do is just look at this app and just see exactly where everything is. So building your base in somewhere that's going to be efficient for what it is you're farming is going to be the most important thing. When I show you my first base that I did, you'll see it's in the, D2 section. So it's pretty much surrounded by crash ships. There's medium and small spice deposits, as well as a ringworm. So you can go when that does spawn and get a ridiculous amount of spice fast, as well as it's going to be really close to your base. So there's so much stuff that you can do right there for just both spice and the downed or fallen ships, and that makes it so much more efficient when you can just fly 1 or 2 grids back, deposit everything, get right back out, and then just start collecting some more. Another thing on this map will be the Stravidium and Plastanium mines. Now, so far in 2 different wipes of the Deep Desert, I found that typically you'll find one good Stravidium mine that's going to be near a dungeon, which this one ends up being an F8. And that one will be absolutely loaded. As well as there's going to be one more that's an H6, where it's going to be a titanium next to a dungeon. And that one's going to have hundreds of nodes on it as well. So instead of just looking for rocks with 1 or 2 nodes on it, you can basically hit these 2 spots up and be completely set for the rest of the game. Now, the first thing that I'll hop over to will just be my D2 base. This was my farming base I was talking about. This is where I was hitting all the ships, hitting all the spice fields around me. just basically collecting a ton of mats in the first few days. Even now, I filmed this video on Sunday 6:15, and this is on one of the largest servers there is. All the big guilds are here, all the big streamers are here. There's so much competition, but still, like, you can just go out, hit your spots, make a ton of loot. The main thing that you want to learn is just exactly where each one of these things are. The Planetologist app will give you an idea what grid it is, but once you start hitting those grids, you need to kind of memorize where these will actually spawn at, because they're always going to be in the same spot. So once you've learned, 3 or 4 fallen ship spots, a couple spice spots, you're really just running out and crushing these so fast. Now, my base that I did here is about as simple as you can get. I came out with a couple copper, granite, and scrap metal, and just fuel cell for the generators. There's a ton of empty space up top here. It's really pretty much just hidden away. It's underneath a cave, so you just sit inside of here. I never had any problems over the week with people killing my base. I had other bases that I built that would be demolished on a daily basis. If you can kind of stay out of sight, it's perfect. This is going to be a main thing. You want to create airlocks. So I always disable these two where I have to manually press these to get in and out. Just in case someone is following me, I can close one door and they can't get any further. That way, if I do die there, they just get what I have on me. Now, a big thing of this is kind of just paying attention to the sounds around you. When you're in base, you can hear fallen crash ships happening. You can hear spice blooms popping. When I was in base, I heard a spice bloom pop up. So I'm just going to go ahead and head over there real quick. Kind of just show you what I do. There's a couple different videos of this that will break it down a little bit. So I'll make sure to show you a couple different ways for this. But basically, just haul ass right over. Let's try and get there quick. Make sure there's no one around following you and stuff when you're doing this, just so they don't come and compete with you. I'll go ahead and just speed this up a little bit, just so you don't have to watch me flying around. But we're making our way right over to this small spice bloom that happened. Once you get there, there's really nothing to worry about right away unless you see other helicopters flying around you. First thing you want to do is always start from the middle and kind of work my way around. You'll have, depending on what power generator you have, like if you have an MK5, you can basically just spam this, get everything done at one time. And then when the worm pops up, you can go ahead, fly up, come back down and collect it. The main thing is always just being on the lookout as you're doing this circle. Keep an eye on the air, see if anyone's flying around you. These smaller edges, you're barely going to get any spice from. These small patches, you'll usually get, I think it's 200 to 300 per, which end of the day is not much. You want to keep an eye out for the medium and the ringworms, because those, you can go back and forth multiple times and stack up a ton of spice quickly. Once this worm pops out, you do have quite a bit of time before you have to get in. I usually, spend an extra 5 seconds or so getting some loot. I'll fly up real quick, see where it's going. If it's coming straight towards you, it's usually not best to hop back down right away, but if it's going off, like I could have already been back down on the ground, loot this, and going. But we'll just loot this up real quick, see how much we ended up getting from it. I went ahead and skipped over the looting process, but we ended up with 390 spice from this. It's great because this entire run's only going to take me 6 minutes from start to finish. So that's me leaving the base, flying over, looting it, flying up from the worm, flying back down, getting back to base. It's nice and quick, 390 spice, and, a very small chance of running into someone with this area that we're doing. And for anyone who doesn't realize it and might not be using this yet, once you get back to base, you want to just park your helicopter as close as you can. That way you can start looting everything directly from it. You don't have to actually go to the inventory of it. You'll end up just running inside, clicking on one of your boxes. Obviously, make sure you close your doors back up. But go ahead and click up here, go to your assault or your scout, and just move everything over nice and easy. You don't have to do runs back and forth. I did want to just show you guys a medium pile. This one was already taken up, so there wasn't much of a point for me to farm it. But After talking about how fast you can be with these worms in the small pile, I kind of just wanted to demonstrate what you can do and how fast it can be just to go in and out. So I'll just try and aggro this worm here. I'm shooting around, gonna be using my suspensor belt, hopping around, doing pretty much anything I can do to make this worm want to come after me. So we're just waiting on him to come attack. Oh, he wants me. It's just taking a little bit of time. Alright, here we go. That's the worm aggro. You'll see the bottom turns red. He's popping out. Now, a lot of people are taking a ton of time where they're just hovering in the air, waiting on him to get out of sight or go far away, things like that. Realistically, all you have to do is fly up, wait for that bar in the middle for worm sign to go away, and you can really just get back down. He's already de-aggroed. See how he heads off into the distance. Land back down, get right back to farming. Don't waste any time on this where there's a chance of other people coming up. And then finally, I wanted to show you guys a ringworm spice. This giant circle over here to the right on my screen, that's where one would spawn at. That entire thing would be purple. It will take you an hour to get it all by yourself if it's just you. You can get thousands and thousands of spice. This is one that's right on the Planetologist app, so you can always hit it close. It's not even a grid away from where my base is. But unfortunately, there's nothing there at the time. But this is what it would look like, and it would be all purple inside. Right after this, we're going to hop into the fallen ships. These things have typically 2 to 3 blueprints per week, and you'll usually get 2 to 3 per ship that you do. With these, there's a ton of materials that you're going to need to build items with, whether it's your ornithopters, your gear, your weapons. These are things you need to loot. But as you can see, the worm was already popping up before I got there. What this means is he's going to be eating this ship. You can see that it never turns off the red, so you don't want to be landing on that. He's going to go ahead and crush this, so now we know we can go ahead and get to the next spot. I went ahead and found a different one that we will have a chance to loot. As you can see flying up, there's no worm popping out of the ground. I'm safe to go ahead and come over here. Typically what I like to do personally is I land on top. There's always going to be one hatch on top that you can open. There's going to be one on each side as well. If you land too close, your Thopter will go ahead and keep you from clicking on it. So as you can see here, I'm trying to scan a couple times. Don't worry if that happens. Go ahead and just move away from your copter. Scan it again, and then start busting through there. There's so much loot that comes from each one of these. It's usually best to go ahead and pop it into your inventory if you can on the copter. That way you're not, just full inventory or getting stuck not able to loot all of these. Typically there's one that is a pain in the ass to get. Basically, you can't usually scan it from the bottom unless you're on top of your helicopter. If you're on top, you can usually scan it and kind of cheese it like this. You might not see where it is, but it's always on the top. To get this, you usually want to crawl inside and, move around just a little bit. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can target the loot and just go ahead and grab everything that you can. This other side I'll get to is usually a lot easier. Typically, it's on ground level. You can just walk over, go ahead and loot it up. What you want to avoid doing is using your suspensor belt as much as possible because that will aggro the worm. So if you can just climb, run, whatever you need to do to avoid it, you'll have a lot more time on these. You shouldn't even aggro the worm while you're out here. I didn't really need much of this stuff, but normally I'd be popping this into my inventory, going up, and then coming right back down once that worm's gone. Alright, at this point, you have your ships farmed, you have your spice getting farmed. What you're going to need next will be your titanium and your Stravidium. Like I was saying earlier in the video, there is going to be typically one of each of these rock formations that will have a ridiculous amount of ore. This one right here would be for the titanium. If you take a look around, you'll see tons of nodes laying around. You can actually fill 3 entire scout inventories just from clearing this one time. So if you come out and do this 2-3 times, run everything back, you'll be set for weeks of the game if it's just you playing solo. You do have to watch out though, everyone's going to be building bases out here. You can't build any bases on the main rock formation, so each one of these little outliers on the side, you'll want to go ahead and put a base up at, and try not to make it too big because you'll be the first one to get raided if you do. If you try and just make like, a little 2x2, some honeycomb or something like that, go ahead and just stock it up one time with as much as you can, start doing runs back and forth, and clear that out as fast as you can. Now we're flying over here to the Stravidium base. I actually built this base right here. We're flying over on the left with the ramp. I wanted to honeycomb as much as possible to try and deter people from getting in there. This one's actually lasted the entire week. I started that on wipe day, and it's just sad though. These mines, once again, are absolutely everywhere. As you see us flying around, you'll see 5, 6, 7, 8 of them all in one spot. If you end up getting a buggy out here, you can crush these so fast. And to do that, you'll probably end up with a ton of spare parts. Just fly the parts out here, slap one down, come out here and crush these as fast as you can. If someone kills your buggy, who cares? It's just spare parts. It's not a big deal. Otherwise, get your cutter ray and just start farming these up. While I was here, we do end up hearing a spice bloom happen nearby, so we'll fly over there to that one. Give you a chance to kind of see what it looks like when one does pop up. It'll be a giant purple cloud in the distance. This area is great because there's a ton of the spice blooms around here as well, so not only the first base that you build at your mining spots, you can also get your spice. But this is what it looked like. It'll be a plume like that, just some smoke going on. You can fly over, start getting your loot. If you guys end up having any questions or anything you guys want to figure out next, go ahead and just let me know. I'll probably be doing some more of these solo grinds just so you can kind of see how it works out, what you need to do, what the best options are. And if you could, just don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll keep pumping content out for y'all.